Welcome to this wonderful platform. If it is your first time of stopping by or coming across this channel for the first time, you are welcome. Please, if you like what you see here, after watching, subscribe, put on your notification bell. It's very, very important because it's going to help you to know when I upload a new video. In this channel, I present to you news on daily basis on what is happening in the whole world, especially in Nigeria and in Biafra land. Yes, I'm Mother Biafra. I bring to you Biafra news. So before I do that, what I always do is that I analyze it and I sit down there to watch the video together with you. Then we'll come to the comment section to talk about it. Of course, everybody is entitled to his or her opinion. That is why the comment section is there for you to contribute, leave your ideas, your thoughts, your belief about the videos that you have watched. Please, as we are doing this, let us do it constructively. As we hop into today's video, remain blessed. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate your massive support in this channel.
It does look like the president is not happy with what Governor Orthom said. What exactly is the mind of the president on some of the statements made by Mr. Orthom?
Thank you for giving us this opportunity and to say that the president has shown extraordinary patience, stomaching a lot of the garbage that Governor Orthom has been pouring upon him. I am not sure in the history of this country there had been any president who would have taken all of the insults that Governor Orthom has been heaping on this president. And on the president's directive, we have ignored him. Most of the time we have said nothing. But it is also said that lies told many times, over and over again, they can assume the coloration of the truth, can be mistaken for the truth. And it is at this point that we decided to say, look, let us set the record straight. President Buhari does not kill people. He is not a cultist. Governor Orthom should stop spreading fears about a president who is humane, who is fair, who is just. And all of the falsehood he spreads perhaps speak to his own character rather than that of the president.
What exactly, if you can tell us, are those things that the president is not happy with? In some of the conversations that Governor Orthom was engaged with, I remember vividly he was talking about grazing routes, ranching, the agreement at the National Economic Council meeting, and what the governor's positions are on the grazing routes. But what in specific is the president not happy about? Can you tell us?
Well, let me say that so many things are in what you have just said now. The issues of grazing reserves or ranching are matters that are being competently handled by the National Economic Council chaired by the Vice President. They have a plan for all of these things, and the plan, on that plan, there is a buy-in by about 24, 25 states. Now, what remains is for action to follow. And the action has begun to take place in a number of states. I think about 10 states so far in the country have set up secretariat for those schemes. What the president did lately is nothing that should have warranted these insults, because he just set up a committee under the chief of staff and technical people to audit grazing land. There are reports as submitted by the Ministry of Agriculture indicating that these reserves are in as many as 24 states. Is that true? Can you audit, verify? If they come to your state and they find that these facts are not, is the government not auditing Niger Delta Development Commission now? And the fact that you are auditing, does that presuppose that people are already guilty, or that they have no explanation for what has happened? They should allow the committee to report. And at the point to which action is being taken, if you see government going in a direction that you don't want, you can complain. When you ask a question about the kind of things that he says, on your own TV network, Channels Television, you had ORTOM lining up people behind him, asking President Buhari, come and kill us. Buhari, come, kill us. Now, is that the way to treat a president of this country? Because the president does not speak, because he is a decent gentleman who does not order executions as we have had in the history of this country. So please, I think that the Benue people are largely peaceful, they are law-abiding, and they love their neighbors. This wedge driving by Governor Orthom between Benue and their neighbors has got to stop. In any case, if he doesn't, this is a democratic system of government. What we're saying is that less than 2 years from now, they have an opportunity to put in a governor who will reconstruct and restore their relationships with everyone, including the Fulani, for whom he has so much hatred, and he's driving towards Rwanda if care is not taken.
Governor Orthom mentioned a few things, part of which he made allusion to Katsina State being given some funds to drive the ranching agenda. Is that true? Can you confirm that to us?
Yes, Katsina has been given money, but Katsina is not the only one that has been given. So far, about 24 billion naira has been issued to about 4 states for ranching and associated activities. Yobe has been given, Ebonyi has been given, FCT has been given, and a number of states, more than 10 states, are now being processed for these payments. So we have had all this nonsense being said, including by lawyers who ordinarily should be respected, accusing the president of this thing or that. The president cannot be nepotistic. He cannot descend so low as to do what others before him have done. He is a fair and just leader, and the fact that Katsina got money, in fact, 1 or 2 of these states got their own before Katsina, but it's because they didn't go to town with it. That is why people are calling out president, and the governor of Benue is saying all this trash against him. So it's a process, and the state governments are lining up, and if you are ready, you meet up with the given criteria, you get funded. The president's wish is that this open grazing should end. Nobody wants it. Yes.
Will the presidency or the federal government, that is, be giving the same 6 billion to every state of the federation?
I believe that there is no basis upon which any state will be denied so long as they have the states. But of course, you know, states such as Benue have proclaimed openly that they have no land for ranching. Or where it is available, it is not open. By the way, their laws are written as such that nobody can access it if you don't belong to a given ethnic group that is preferred by the administration in the state. So all of these things matter. People have to be fair to everyone. If you want justice for yourself, do justice to other people as well.
Let me allow you to also clarify or speak to what some of the things Governor Orthom mentioned. And it has to do with the issue of the Land Use Act, which allows the governors of each of the states to take charge of the land under their territory, in their states. And according to him, he said at the meeting where they sat with the vice president chairing the meeting, that the governors agreed that ranching should be the way to go, but that with this idea of grazing routes, it's totally against what the governors agreed upon. And so it does look like, from what he said, that the presidency is going against the wishes of the 36 state governors.
Well, there are matters of technical detail which I may not have. But ranching by the wish of everyone, is the goal of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. But you are not going to get there in 24 hours. You have to plan for it, because all of the things that are required, water, the greens, and even the land have to be provided. And again, I hope you get us clear. At no point is President Buhari telling anybody that he is in charge of land under the constitution, not to the states. No, federal government wants to work with the states. And some of these states, like Katsina, we just mentioned, Katsina, if you like to know, is already recovering some of these grazing routes from people who have encroached. And they are doing it following their own laws. Now, you are saying that there shouldn't be routes. Are you applying? Is anyone implying that you cannot move animals from one point of the country to the other, even for market or medical other purposes, veterinary and so on, that you cannot move them from point A to point B? And if you need to do that, they have to move away from the farm so that they don't eat up, their crops, and then violence ensues. These are matters anyway. The governors, with good heart, with good intention, they should be able to sit down around the table with the federal government and agree on what to do. Ranching is the way to go, and is the modern system. Nobody is tied to the past. The thing is that you cannot jump from one to the other without making the necessary preparation for what is to come.
So, if you say ranching is the way to go, is the modern approach in animal husbandry, but when the president talks about resuscitating or trying to bring alive the grazing routes, does that not come against in conflict with the concept of ranching, which it looks like it's a popular idea accepted by many?
Well, I don't know how they will achieve that, but if Shehu, you need a cow to celebrate Christmas or Salah, depending on which one you do, and this cow happens to be in Niger State, and you are in Lagos, is the assumption that you will carry this cow on your head? If you like, you cannot, you as a Nigerian, move this cow, walk it to Lagos, if that is your wish. I'm saying I don't fully understand where people are going. If the idea is to resuscitate grazing,
walking their cattle across the country,
there are states that are willing and ready to have those back. In any case, they have some of them have said they have already relaunched it. Borno State, for instance, Nasarawa, a number of them, Adamawa. So states have choices to make of what they want. We have to modernize this system, and it will require a process to do this. How do we get there? I think this is where the disagreement is. But for states like Benue, who say they don't even have an inch of space for some of these things, do they have anything to offer to the new system that they're saying they have signed on to?
But how would you interpret, Mr. Shehu, how would you interpret when the state says we cannot or we will not embrace this idea of grazing routes? What we want is ranching, because of the history of the killings and the clashes that we've seen between farming communities and these herders, and perhaps the stories of the foreign herders who mask, who are in disguise, coming as herders, but with AK-47 and some other sophisticated weapons. And so the governors in the southern region of the country came to say there will be a ban on open grazing, and they will not allow the transportation on foot of cattle from northern region to the southern region of the country. Will the federal government, or is the federal government opposed to the position of the southern governors?
The Minister of Agriculture probably would be in the best position to give you this answer. But if you are to allow me to make my own assumptions, states are entitled to make their own laws, as many have done. Do the laws make sense? Do they abide by Constitution of the Federal Republic? Do they respect rights of all citizens? Do they respect our treaties and obligations assigned under ECOWAS? All of these things are important. And again, there is a problem with some of the assumptions that you yourself have presented. Some of these generalizations that people make, that the killings and the rape and all of these things are on account of Fulani herders. It is unfair and unjust. I'm not saying I'm here to defend it. There are Fulani criminals. There are Fulani criminals. Let me repeat. There are Fulani extremists and criminals, as there are Hausa, and Yoruba, and Igbo bandits and criminals. And in any case, a state like Benue, which has been so outspoken on this matter, they have the law against grazing. And my assumption is that arising from all of that, all of the Fulani herders have been expelled. Now, so now what is happening to the cultists who are sometimes politically motivated, cultists who are ethnically motivated, who go on killing sprees between one community and another? So who drives those ones out of the town? So all of these things there are problems of law and order, of criminality all across the country. But for anyone to now say this is accounted for by one ethnic group of the country is absolutely wrong and is unfair. And this is where we are headed, in places where this anti-Fulani agenda is being driven to the point where if care is not taken, they would begin to lynch, they would begin to stone you for just being Fulani, whether you have wronged anyone or you have not. And a government has a responsibility to give protection to every citizen in their life and property.
How does the president, being a Fulani man himself, approach this very touchy and very sensitive matter? It does need to be approached very carefully. But give us an idea of how he's approaching it, such that for those who are accusing him or making allegations, because he's a Fulani man, and some of the events of the past, can you give us an idea of how he's approaching this, such that it doesn't escalate into a bigger tension? Well,
he wants the country's law to be obeyed, and the constitution that we have in place. And there are people who make assumptions that the day President Buhari stops being president, he exits that office. All this campaign against the Fulani will disappear, because much of it is politically driven. Or some of the states that are hardest hit are probably selected and targeted in order to cause maximum political embarrassment. And it gives, if you allow me just a second, it gives me an opportunity to respond to my younger brother Kola on the earlier parts of the program. I think that the PDP people are shameless people. They ought to show remorse and regrets for the lack of preparedness of the Nigeria police and the military to confront ongoing security challenges in the country. They had given President Muhammad a rotten police and a rotten army with nothing, Air Force that could not fly. police don't even have tear gas. So what are you talking about? President Buhari is trying to rebuild what you destroyed over 16 years of your rule. And then you have the mouth to come and talk and say that the president whether he should resign or they should convene emergency parliament because he has failed. You failed the nation, and you take responsibility. That's why your party has gone into voluntary liquidation, because it can no longer be sustained on the basis of falsehood.
Because we are in a democracy, Mr. Shehu, the voices of the majority carries the day. That is the rule in a democracy. When President Buhari has an idea on an agenda on a particular policy, but is being met with resistance from perhaps governors and perhaps a larger population of other people within the sector where this policy is supposed to operate, will President Buhari still continue in such an idea? And I give an example. On these grazing routes and this idea of open grazing or grazing idea, and people are hacking it down, they said they do not want it. Will President Buhari still go ahead in pursuing that agenda?
Shehu, as we speak at this time, all that the president asked a committee to do is to audit the grazing reserves, audit them. What would he with the report? Why don't you give him a chance? Allow the report to come in. If he says, okay, the police or army go and take back land, the states can now begin to scream against that policy. And what you say against that if the president would act, the president cannot act against the majority. Rather, he will act against a vocal minority which is used to privileges that are no longer sustained by a democratic, accountable system of government that he runs in the country. We have a parliament in the country, and the president is never in disagreement with the majority decision of the Nigerian parliament. Go and check the decisions.
Thank you for always watching Linda's TV show. I will see you again in my next video. Remain blessed. I appreciate each and every one of you, and keep on watching Linda's TV show. If you have not yet subscribed, please, I beg you to do that so that you'll be getting more updates from me. Bye bye.